Chris McQuarrie is talking some Tom Cruise.
69.
So I've got a couple things here. I've got things queued up here. And Chris McQuarrie, the director of Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, he's been doing the interview circuit. There's a couple interviews here. Let's hear what he has to say, including some comments about the new Mission Impossible, Top Gun 3. So let's go here. I'm going to turn this up. You ready? Here we go.
Something else about that recording with enough distance to get away from it. Just to give you a sense of reality, when you heard it and you read the associating copy, close your eyes and show me how you picture the event.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Like just what do you picture? What do you imagine the event being?
I mean, he's obviously on set, surrounded by a dozen actors, extras.
He's talking about the Tom Cruise rant that some people criticized him for. That I thought the fact that he's making this movie, it's like, look, we have insurance, we have all of this, we have rules to follow. He didn't say he loved the rules, but if you're going to be shooting, you agree to follow the rules that are in place. And when that rant came out, I remember saying, oh, I get it. Follow the rules. I'm not in favor of a lot of the things that happened during that time, but if you agree we're allowed to do this if we follow these rules, then that's the rules. You have people giving you money. You have there's insurance, and there are people's jobs on the line. People
the
that
movie is on the line.
The movie's on the line. Yeah. And Chris McQuarrie is putting this in context for those that criticize Tom Cruise. Him and Bale, there are certain things where it's like, I don't know why the Bale thing was, I mean, you know, he
overreacted.
Overreacted, but even then, you know.
You understood it, but he overreacted.
There's a reason they say quiet on the set.
Yeah.
But let's continue with this.
You and a couple folks who were getting too close to each other. And
how many people total would you say was that based on your mental picture?
It's a trap.
No, it's not a trap. It's quite literally what impression did it give you? There's no right or wrong answer.
No, I was like a dozen, 20, something like that.
Yeah. There were 7 people in that conversation, and 2 of them were me and Tom.
Yeah.
And it was not in front of the crew. That's how it was reported.
Got it.
And 2 of the people there were people who had specifically been tasked with the health and safety of our crew and had repeatedly not
lived up to that responsibility.
Not lived up to that responsibility. Yeah. What you're also not hearing is the 30 minutes of audio that came before it that led to that. When the number of times of trying to get one's point across is not finally getting
breaking
across.
point was reached.
So context is very, very important, and it's not something you can ever add to something in the age of the internet in real time. But the truth of the matter was there was a much greater context to that, and now factor into it the fact that the person who is raising his voice is quite literally going to work every day and risking his life for a very expressed purpose of keeping the industry alive. That was not a guy pissed off because his latte was cold.
Right.
And
or even that someone's in my eye line, which is justifiable.
Well, this is from the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. Josh,
I actually like that podcast.
I like Josh. I've met him and spoken to him several times. When I did junkets, I'd always see him for G4. He's a good guy. He's a straight shooter. Anyways, so the context matters on this. So let's see how much more there is, and then we'll comment. I have another clip to show.
Yes, exactly. So yes, exactly. Other outbursts you've heard, which by the way, you listen to those things out of context and think, oh my God, you make one movie and you will totally understand.
Yeah, no, I get it.
When you understand the pressure, the pain, the risk, the time, and the responsibility.
And add
crushing.
COVID and everything going
And
on.
you add
Yes.
COVID and everything else going on.
Yeah.
And you can't respond to it.
Yeah.
You can't respond to it.
If you've ever been on a big film set or TV set, whatever, time is money. Clock is ticking. You could calculate down to the minute how much it costs to make a movie when you're in production. It's not cheap. And so I understand getting upset and the passion behind this. So, these things get blown out of proportion, and and the film sets can get really can get tense. And I look, I produced a feature. It was an 18-day shoot, and there were a couple 18-hour days that were tense. And the next day, it may get heated in the moment, and the next day you're just back to work. Let's go. It's like when a film set runs well, it's like a military operation. Everyone has a job and are at the top of their game if you can afford it. So we'll watch a little bit more.
But I just want to respond by saying,
please.
it's the fact that Tom and Christian are being defined by these, 15, 20 seconds of their lives that's been thrown out on the internet. I mean, it's just unfair to take something out of context or to take someone's bad 10 to 20 seconds of your life and make that the focus of their career, of their character. Social media has put us in this place where we are all defined by the sound bites of our lives, as opposed to the total picture of our lives, the total person we are. And this is just an example of that, of a guy, Tom Cruise, who's trying to make great movies, save an industry when no one asked him to. And you take a moment of his life out of context and you put it out there on the internet. And now you have to have people explain it constantly. Or whenever you interview the guy or think about the guy, every time you think about Christian Bale, you think about this tirade he had. And I think it was just he overreacted. It was a bad moment. But I don't think I would define him based on that moment.
Yes. All right. Let's watch a little bit more. I have another clip to show real quick.
What I am grateful for is that people in the know, people who make movies for a living, understood, we've all been there. We've all lost our shit. Every single person.
Yep.
Ye without sin cast the first stone. But that also the what he was saying was very, very sincere. There was, he was on the phone every night fighting the good fight to keep things going, to keep things alive. And I was a fly on the wall for all of that. I watched him will that into existence. And then I watched how long it took for people to change, for Cruise to adopt a different mode of behavior and to take seriously what it was. And it did not matter what you believed.
Yeah.
These are the rules now. And if we want to keep working, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
It's not really about what is true for you and what is not.
Right.
This is reality.
Yeah.
Reality and truth are two very, very different things.
So good clip. Yeah, I'll just tell you, the worst thing is when someone comes on a film set who's never been on a film set. A friend of mine named Paul Salamoff, you can look this book up on Amazon. He wrote it years ago. I think he did an update. Wrote a book called Setiquette, like etiquette, but on a film set, explaining what every job is on a film set, what that person's job is to do, and how you should conduct yourself on a set. The worst thing is, and this will get someone to lose their shit, when the actors are trying to do a take and someone does something like makes a loud noise, or people are sawing something in the back doing construction, or a sound disturbs production and shooting. That will make a director lose their shit. So one more clip here about.
I just want to say,
please go ahead.
This is a subject I see in a lot of movies, and it's true in life. But just because you're of adult age, doesn't make you an adult. And I think that's the problem with Hollywood, with a lot of aspects of our lives, is we have adults hanging around us who have not grown up yet, who have not matured into adulthood, who don't understand the idea of responsibility, of respect, or get the job done. And we're coddling them like children. And it just sounds like that's what's happening here. It's just people aren't taking things seriously. And as adults, we had to take everything in life seriously.
No, it's like someone fresh out of college that's never worked professionally,
Mhm.
and they don't understand. I don't care about your feelings. There's a great exchange in the TV show Mad Men where a character is lectured by Don. It's like, I don't even get any thanks. That's what the money's for. It's all about just being professional. Do your job, and that's it. That's your you do your job. I give you money. Let's get into Top Gun 3. This is cool.
The minute their relationship is resolved, the movie is over.
Right. Tighten that screw as much as possible.
Yes, and if they have too many conversations where they don't talk about their problem, you're just like, guys, just talk about your fucking problem already. Just you'd be frustrated with the characters.
Totally.
Tom and I inherently understood that balance, and everyone else around us was pushing for what they wanted in the movie in the micro, and Tom and I were focused entirely on the macro. The challenge of that became, of course, the fact that when you're making a movie, and you can reference other movies when I say this, if your character doesn't like the protagonist, no matter how much you want me to like that character, the rules of movie making say I don't like that character.
Right.
Even if I don't like the protagonist all that much, you're an antagonist. Rooster was always riding the edge of falling into being an antagonist.
Right.
You had to build an entire world around that character so that you liked him despite the fact that he didn't like the guy you're rooting for. That's the bones of the movie that we knew and were always after. We're always pushing in terms of making sure in every scene I feel affinity for this character. I want to like both characters.
Yeah.
And I want to see them be friends, and that's the reward of the movie. It's not finishing the mission. It's not. It's not Great Balls of Fire. It's not any of that. It's the ultimate emotional payoff. Much like in the first movie, his relationship with Iceman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his relationship with Rooster, but his relationship with Iceman, as much as Iceman was antagonizing Maverick, he was cool, and he was a better pilot, and he was right about everything that he was saying. You want to see them be friends. Why the sword fight in Princess Bride works, as good as the choreography is. Yes, it's great choreography. What really makes it great is they're two great characters, and you don't want to see either of them lose.
Right.
You and you want those characters to be friends.
This is Chris McQuarrie is like giving a master class.
Yeah,
storytelling.
I've always known this about Christopher McQuarrie. If you've ever listened to Empire Magazine, the podcast, every time a Mission Impossible movie would come out, they'd bring on Christopher McQuarrie, and they would spend hours talking about every little bit of Mission Impossible, what decisions were made, why decisions were made, and he gets into the nitty gritty of the storytelling. These conversations lasted longer than the actual movie, and Look, we had the pleasure at CinemaCon of watching Tom Cruise honor Christopher McQuarrie, and Tom Cruise came out with a giant stack of note cards and just started reading it. And he made reading note cards sound so natural, but you understood what a great talent Christopher McQuarrie is. You can argue over whether you like Final Reckoning or not, but the guy knows how to tell a story, and the guy understands cinema. And any production would be lucky to have this guy behind the scenes. Helping to craft a movie.
Yeah. A little bit more of this, then we go to your comments.
And that's why that ending is so utterly satisfying. Understanding those things, there is no cookie cutter version of that. You have to strive for and fight for and push for that dynamic. I can write it and we can shoot it. That doesn't mean you'll feel it. And we look at it all the time and go, I ain't buying it. Maverick and Penny's relationship ultimately worked when we shot Jen Connolly for a fourth time on a little piece of a bar in front of a green screen. And she improvised a line in the middle of a newly written version of the scene where she said, "It always ends the same way with us, Pete. Let's not start this time." When she said that, I suddenly knew how to structure the rest of their relationship, because it's really hard to create conflict between a man and a woman in a movie in which the man desperately needs to go and do what he needs to do.
Right.
How can that character be saying to him, "What about me?" Same thing with Grace in these movies. How do you create tension in the relationship without having one of the characters be completely ignoring how important the stakes of the movie are? Those are big challenges, and they take forever. Haley's first scene in the movie, we shot 2 months ago. And we shot it after we tested it the first time and looked at it and went, "Oh, of course, I know exactly what I need to do with this character, and I need to do it in 2.5 minutes."
You know why Hollywood movies suck is because no one puts that much attention into their story and into the film in the final process. It's just, here's a script, shoot it, and release it. And we've just lost the ability to look deep into a story, critically analyze it, and understand why things work and why things don't work.
You can have all the action set pieces and effects you want, but putting that much thought into the character relationships
and plots, and
that is what's required to succeed,
and how to capture all that on film.
Right.